Welcome to the Complete AI Guide podcast, brought to you by GeorgeEbbyMatthew.com. We are now on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and wherever you get your podcasts. Like, follow, share, and subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. Today, we are undertaking, well, a really critical mission, I think. Moving past all the glossy surface of AI hype and getting down to the brass tacks, really. How do you actually secure the investment you need?
Yeah, the funding hurdle. It's real.
It is. And the core challenge we're tackling in this episode, it sounds simple, but it's so often overlooked. Senior executives, they don't fund algorithms, do they? They don't fund models?
No, absolutely not. They fund value. Tangible, measurable business value. That's the language they speak.
Exactly. So if you're out there championing AI, maybe you're listening right now, how do you actually speak that C-suite language?
How do you bridge that gap?
Our goal today is to distill a structured benefits realization model. This is adapted from our research. And it's really a framework, isn't it, to help you articulate exactly where AI creates measurable value across, those complex workflows we all deal with.
And benefits realization model. Okay, it might sound a bit like jargon.
A little bit, yeah.
But think of it like this.
Yeah.
It's a clear, step-by-step roadmap. It shows precisely where AI stops being just another cost center.
Yeah.
And actually starts generating a real financial return. It's about showing the how.
Okay, great. Let's unpack this blueprint then. Let's get into it.
So what's really fascinating about this whole funding challenge, this hurdle, it's rarely because the tech itself isn't good enough or isn't reliable. That's usually not the core issue.
Right. It's not the algorithm failing the test, usually.
No. It's almost always because the benefits being proposed are just, well, they're too vague, or they're way too technical.
Lost in the weeds.
Exactly. Or they're simply not tied clearly to the key performance indicators, the KPIs, that leadership actually manages day to day.
Ah, okay. That's the key disconnect then.
It is. But as soon as you shift that conversation,
Yeah.
Away from what the AI does technically towards what this strategic investment delivers, the whole dynamic, it just changes.
That shift in focus really is everything. Our research, it pinpoints these three really tough, non-negotiable questions that senior executives demand answers to, always, before they'll sign any check for a major AI deployment.
You have to be ready for them.
You do. And it basically boils down to, one, what specifically will this investment deliver, in terms of efficiency or growth or maybe risk reduction?
Tangible outcomes.
Two, how precisely are we going to measure that success? Show me the numbers, the metrics.
Yeah, prove it.
And three, maybe the most important one, will it actually improve productivity, or is this just going to add another layer of complexity onto processes that might already be a bit broken?
That last one is huge because they've seen initiatives before that just added noise.
Right, absolutely. We've all seen them. So if you walk into that executive meeting talking about, technical proof of concepts or model accuracy,
You're missing the mark completely.
you have to present AI not as just, a piece of software, but as a genuine strategic investment. An investment in workflow efficiency, yes, but also in long-term organizational resilience.
That's the frame. Because fundamentally, executives don't fund technology for technology's sake. They fund value. And crucially, the ability to scale that value safely and reliably.
Okay, so to help structure that value proposition, that crucial pitch, we've adapted this powerful three-step benefits realization model from our research. It gives you a kind of linear path for articulating value.
Yeah, the logical flow.
And it focuses on, first, delivering data integrity, then boosting workforce productivity, and finally, the big one, enabling business scalability.
And that sequence, it's absolutely critical. You can't just jump around. The steps are sequential, and they build on each other. They compound.
Right. So step one, the foundation, that's getting your source of truth right, can't build on shaky ground.
That's exactly. Step two is then about improving workforce capacity and satisfaction. That's key too. And step three, that's the big payoff. Scaling the actual business. But like you said, you just can't skip step one and somehow expect step three to magically work. It doesn't happen.
Okay, so that brings us right to it. Step one, get your source of truth right the first time. This sounds foundational. It's about tackling that silent killer, isn't it? Fragmented knowledge.
It really is. It's a massive drain on capital that people often don't even quantify properly. Every single enterprise AI project, if it's going to succeed, must start by confronting this reality that critical, essential information is just scattered everywhere.
Yeah. Whereas it's buried on network drives somewhere.
Locked in old email chains.
Spread across 10 different SaaS tools nobody fully understands.
And the most dangerous one stuck inside the heads of a few key senior people.
Yeah.
You know, the ones who might be retiring next year.
Oof. Yeah. That's the definition of operational risk right there, isn't it? That fragmentation.
Absolutely.
Our research shows this messy landscape, it just leads to duplication of effort, endless errors, costly rework, just mountains of wasted time and energy. It's not just inefficient, it's a genuine liability.
And maybe to put some perspective on that pain point, we see this in real client work. Knowledge workers frequently spend upwards of, say, 40 minutes, maybe more, every single day.
40 minutes.
Just trying to track down information they need to do their job. And the kicker, that information is probably 80% likely to be incomplete, outdated, or just plain wrong when they finally find it.
Wow. That's not just wasted time. Like you said, that's direct, measurable operational liability baked right into the core of how work gets done.
Exactly. Built-in risk.
So the mechanism of value in this step one, it sounds simple, but it must be quite profound in practice. You force the consolidation. The AI project itself becomes the catalyst, the driver, for pulling together best practices, institutional knowledge, core data, into a single, verified, trustworthy source of truth.
That's it. And that foundation of trust then allows your AI tools to actually improve the effectiveness of workflows across the whole organization, not just in one silo.
Right.
And the results, consistent delivery standards, fewer operational errors cropping up, less time spent just fighting internal contradictions or reconciling different versions of the truth.
Okay, this sounds great in theory, but I have to play devil's advocate here for the listener. Consolidation. It sounds a bit like a massive multi-year IT migration project, the kind executives tend to run screaming from.
Yeah, fair point. It can sound daunting.
So how do you sell this consolidation phase? How do you frame it so it doesn't just sound like an expensive, drawn-out internal cleanup job?
You sell it as immediate risk mitigation and near-term value creation.
Yeah.
You focus on the now. Lower costs are an obvious outcome, right? Less wasted time, less rework that's direct saving.
Okay, tangible benefits.
But the bigger sell, often, is governance and risk reduction. You're telling them we are reducing operational disruptions. That translates directly to lower financial risk exposure, which is something the CFO and the board care deeply about.
Okay. You're positioning the AI initiative itself as a governance and efficiency play first.
Exactly.
That delivers immediate compounding value, not just some shiny new technology project for later.
Precisely. You're selling operational reliability, consistency, predictability. And that is language the CFO understands perfectly. You're addressing a current bleeding cost.
That reframing makes a lot of sense. You're basically telling the executive team, look, we're using this AI initiative to finally solve the internal chaos that's already costing you millions, whether you track it perfectly or not.
You got it.
Okay, so let's say we've done it. We've successfully consolidated the truth in step one. We started to stop that operational bleed. Where does all that freed up capacity, that saved time and effort, go next?
Well, that sets us up perfectly for step two, improving workforce capacity and satisfaction.
Okay.
This is where AI moves beyond being just a knowledge repository and starts acting like an active, genuinely helpful virtual teammate.
Right, because our research highlights that employees, the very ones who are frustrated by step one's chaos, they spend a surprising chunk of their day on really low-value repetitive stuff, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Searching for the right policy document.
Checking if the checklist they found is actually the current one.
Or worse, redoing entire tasks because they unknowingly used outdated information from that fragmented system we just fixed.
Every single one of those wasted search cycles, every redo, it's not just inefficiency, it's a drain on morale too, isn't it? And on that precious productive capacity.
Huge drain.
Yeah.
But AI, built on that step one foundation, changes this dynamic. It starts surfacing accurate, timely information proactively. Right when and where the employee needs it, immediately.
Okay.
And this has a really powerful dual impact. It's something leadership absolutely loves because it hits both the balance sheet and the human capital side of the equation.
Okay, let's break that down. First impact, capacity expansion. What does that look like?
So if the AI is effectively handling a lot of that low-value find and fetch grunt work,
Yeah, the searching and retrieving.
then the human teams, your valuable people, they can redirect their focus.
Yeah.
They can spend their time on higher-value strategic activities, actual problem-solving, nuanced customer interactions, innovation, forward-looking work.
And potential gain there.
Our research consistently suggests that eliminating, say, 20 to 30% of that wasted effort is absolutely achievable.
20 to 30%. That's enormous. That's like finding a whole new strategic resource pool you didn't know you had.
It is. It's significant capacity unlocked without necessarily adding headcount.
Okay, and the second impact, the satisfaction boost.
This one's crucial too. Staff feel supported, not burdened, or constantly fighting the system. When the knowledge they need is easily accessible, accurate, trustworthy, employees build confidence much faster.
Less frustration.
Way less frustration. They deliver better quality work as a result. They have better, more informed customer interactions. And critically, this means the AI is perceived internally as amplification, not replacement. It's helping them succeed.
And this is where it gets really interesting for executives, I bet, because they're always looking for ways to scale margin, increase output, without just linearly escalating their fixed costs like headcount.
Always. That's the dream, right? Scalable growth.
So if you can walk in and show them, look, this AI, built on our solid data foundation, gives us 20–30% more capacity from our existing teams without requiring more headcount. That's a winning argument, isn't it? That translates directly to profitability.
It's a very powerful argument. And you can connect that improved employee engagement, the satisfaction piece, directly to practical business results. Things like better staff retention rates, lower recruitment costs, and ultimately a superior customer experience because your frontline folks are empowered and less stressed.
Yeah, happy employees, happy customers. It's not just a platitude.
Exactly. And when you position AI as this amplifier, this tool that unlocks human potential, well, the friction around adoption just drops dramatically. Employees see it as a tool for their success, not just some accounting tool designed to cut jobs.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Build a foundation, empower the people, which then leads us right into step 3. Scale the business. This feels like the ultimate strategic payoff, right? For successfully nailing that source of truth and expanding internal capacity.
It absolutely is. This is where the strategic advantage really kicks in. Think about how businesses traditionally expand. Launching a new product line, entering a new market, or even just significantly growing headcount in an existing area.
Yeah, what's the usual bottleneck?
The growth rate is almost entirely constrained by human training bandwidth. It's slow and expensive. You hire new people, then you have to run these extensive, costly, and frankly often slow training and shadowing programs.
And those programs tie up your most valuable senior people, right? The experts, pulling them away from their own high-value work to mentor the newcomers.
Precisely. It's that classic growth bottleneck. Your expansion rate is directly tied, linearly tied, to how quickly your experienced staff can onboard and mentor the new staff. It limits your speed.
Okay, so how does AI change that equation? How does it break that linear constraint?
It dramatically changes it by essentially automating access to institutional expertise.
Okay.
The mechanism for scaling here is all about achieving rapid time to productivity for everyone, because the underlying data is now trustworthy, thanks to step 1,
Right.
and the workflow itself is more efficient, thanks to step 2. These AI-driven workflows can provide real-time, context-aware guidance directly within the work system itself, as people are doing their tasks.
Like having an expert looking over your shoulder, but instantly and available 24/7.
Kind of, yeah. Staff become productive much, much sooner. Errors are caught or prevented almost instantly. And maybe, most importantly, confidence builds exponentially faster because people feel supported and guided.
And is there data on how much faster?
Yeah. We're seeing really compelling results in our research, consistently looking at things like a 30 to even 50% reduction in the time it takes to fully onboard someone or upskill them on a new process.
30 to 50% reduction in ramp-up time. That's game-changing for growth plans.
It unlocks speed. And the strategic implications for leadership here are just massive. First, like you said, you gain flexibility. Your workforce capacity can now flex much more dynamically with market demand without that huge drag and cost of the traditional linear training cycles.
Respond faster to opportunities or downturns.
Exactly. And second, you build significant organizational resilience. You start to minimize those dangerous single points of failure, where all the critical knowledge resides in just 1 or 2 key experts.
Because the knowledge transfer is now systematized through the AI.
Right. It's not solely dependent on that small handful of scarce experts being available to train everyone. So growth, market expansion. They're no longer constrained purely by the availability of your top trainers. You've decoupled it.
This is powerful stuff. Which brings us, I think, to that executive headline statement you mentioned earlier. If you've only got one sentence, maybe for the elevator pitch or the final slide, to convey the total value of this AI investment, What's the one that should really close the deal and stick in the C-suite's mind?
Okay, yeah, the killer summary line. It needs to encapsulate all three steps and hit those core executive concerns: growth, risk, and cost. Here it is. This AI investment will scale people, not payroll, expanding capacity, reducing errors, and delivering data you can finally trust.
Scale people, not payroll. I like that. It's concise, it's benefit-driven, it covers capacity expansion, scaling people, risk reduction, reducing errors, and that foundational trust. Data you can trust. That really ties it all together.
That's the goal. Hit the core value drivers in language they understand and care about.
Okay, so we've established the 3 steps. Fix the truth, boost the workforce, scale the business. Now let's really connect the dots and talk specifically about measuring success. Executives need those quantified benefits, right? Things they can actually bank on, track, and manage.
Absolutely. You need to show the proof. Our research consistently highlights several key measurable outcomes, and they map directly back to those 3 steps.
Okay.
So, as we touched on, definitely achieving significantly faster time to productivity. That 30 to 50% reduction in onboarding and upskilling time is a hard metric you can track.
Right. Measure onboarding cohorts before and after.
Exactly. Then there's higher workforce efficiency. You need to demonstrate more throughput per employee, more tasks completed, more cases resolved, whatever the relevant unit of work is. That's capacity gain made real.
Quantifiable output increase.
Yes. And, critically, improved accuracy and reduced rework. This directly minimizes those costly errors, reduces wasted effort, cuts down on staff fatigue and frustration. Again, trackable metrics.
And these benefits resonate because they map directly onto categories that executives already fund and manage, probably on a quarterly basis, right?
Precisely. You're not asking them to invent new ways to measure value. You track success against established time metrics. Things like average time wasted searching for info or the average time to complete a key workflow. You measure the reduction.
Okay.
You also measure error and rework metrics. Focus on the measurable reduction in those costly incidents. Calculate the associated cost savings. Make it tangible.
Hard dollars saved.
And finally, capacity metrics. Tracking that all-important throughput per person, per team. This is how you elevate the conversation.
Yeah.
You move from just talking about technological potential
Yeah, that hype.
to demonstrating proven operational performance. That's what gets funded.
And this is where I think the real magic happens. You mentioned earlier this compounding effect, the flywheel. These 3 steps don't just sit there side by side. They actually reinforce each other, creating a continuous cycle.
That's absolutely right. It's not just a linear process. It becomes a virtuous cycle. Think about it. When you implement and really sustain that best practice foundation, step 1,
The single source of truth.
you naturally drive workflow efficiency and capacity gain. Step 2, because your employees simply aren't constantly hunting for information or fixing easily preventable errors anymore.
Makes sense, less friction.
That increased efficiency and focus, in turn, directly accelerates the organization's time to productivity for everyone and boosts its overall ability to scale. That step 3 kicking in.
Okay, the cycle starts spinning.
And here's the really beautiful part. What's the amazing high-quality byproduct of all that newly focused, efficient work being done correctly the first time?
Let me guess. Better data.
Exactly. High-fidelity workflow data. Because the entire system is now built on that single governed source of truth from step 1. The data generated by those newly efficient workflows is inherently trustworthy. It reflects reality.
So the output creates reliable input for the next cycle.
Precisely. And that trusted data feeds directly back into the ongoing mechanism for refining and improving your best practices even further, which enhances efficiency more, which boosts scaling potential. It becomes this continuous compounding cycle of value creation.
Wow.
It makes that initial investment in getting the foundation right pay off again and again and again. It's not a one-time fix. It's building a learning, improving system.
That's the perfect way to reassure executives, isn't it? That this AI project isn't just, technology for technology's sake or another isolated initiative. It's a core strategic investment that delivers productivity, scalability, and data integrity in a way that they can directly measure and, crucially, rely upon continuously. It builds trust in the process itself.
Builds trust and demonstrates ongoing compounding returns. That's the ultimate goal.
Fantastic. So, as you, our listener, walk away from this episode today, here's maybe a provocative thought for you to consider, building on everything we've discussed. Don't just think broadly about what AI could possibly automate in your organization. That list can be endless and overwhelming.
Yeah.
Instead, try to pinpoint the knowledge bottleneck. What is the single point of fragmented truth, or the most critical process inefficiency? The thing that is currently acting as the single largest constraint on your company's growth rate or performance.
Find that key logjam.
Find that logjam. And if you can frame your AI initiative around solving that specific constraint using this three-step framework we've outlined, truth, capacity, scale, then getting the funding you need becomes not just, like
It becomes almost inevitable because you're solving their biggest problem.
Exactly. You're speaking their language and hitting their priorities head on. Thank you for joining us on the Complete AI Guide podcast. Like, follow, share, and subscribe so that you don't miss the next episode.